This day 815 Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Sponsor Yomi. Please come me directly. Today we very appreciate it. Today we're doing Simon Tough Kuf Yud Aleph to Tough Kuf Yud Beis. Hey. Those who want to forbid smoking cigarettes on Yontif, any use of tobacco on Yontif, burning tobacco, pipes, cigars. Shenez is Shabbat Nefesh, because it's not Shabbat Nefesh, not everybody smokes. Rabba Chokim Mitilhead, many are arguing permitted outright. For our Brul is that there's clear evidence that much cause to the Shabbos. Just for us to say, I have a double Shabbat Nefesh, that sweating is something which is universally pleasing. To have a Brias Aguf, it is for the health of the body. And Sean, so to smoking tobacco. To those who are accustomed to it, having the Brias Aguf. It is for the health of the body. Lakel Amazon, to digest the food. Ulitchos Hamos Haros. Not sure exactly what that means. To push away the excesses, whatever that means. So just because it's also pleasurable to make it worse, beat me up. That would be astonishing. Those who somebody wrote this way, Prima God. I smoke tobacco on Yontif, like the world does for health reasons, for medical reasons. Especially today, it is something which is universally beneficial or universally done. It's interesting because all those years when smoking was considered healthy, it still wasn't done by women for the most part. It was considered a lot of places to be not theistic for women to smoke. It was considered like a big breakthrough when women started smoking cigarettes, and the women never really took to smoking cigars or pipes. So I guess something with Shabbat Nefesh for men would be considered Shabbat Nefesh. On the other hand, nowadays, of course, we know it's not healthy. Ramosha holds it's not Shabbat Nefesh today. That's Ramosha holds you should not smoke in Yontif. Nevertheless, many people still smoke in Yontif on the basis of this head of the Arukh HaShulchan. Somebody wrote they refrained from smoking Yontif. There's a certain pious person said, Tim Shloif says not doing the right thing. Shemoneh that's all Simchas Yontif. It's curtailing his Simchas Yontif. The Shari Tshuva name of Chacham Tzvi. Besides all this, I said, it's not like incense, which is not Shabbat Nefesh, only for pampered people. But Tabaki Chol Anashim Kasim Kiyoshvei Kvorim. On the contrary, tobacco is mostly for poors, for coarse people. People live in small villages. They smoke a lot. And pampered people in the country, many of them can't even tolerate the smell. And even though there's some good tobacco, pipe tobacco I would say, which which gives good fragrance, it's a minority. Most of it is a simple and coarse smell. So it's just because they're those which have a good smell, which is for the pampered people. Nesser going to make it also. Then let's also fruit which has a good fragrance. People smoke on the don't refrain from smoking first day Yontif and smoke on the second Yontif. That's a mockery of Yom Tov Sheni. Bilacha says name Shari Tshuva. Some people are annoyed to be mocking Yom Tov Rishon, or both days Rosh Hashanah to be making Yom Tov Sheni, and he says it's a good minhag. So Mishbur argues on that, obviously, and he also said, nevertheless, those who are annoyed to be making Yom Tov Rishon, you can't protest against them, but you should be careful not to extinguish. That's important, not to extinguish the cigarettes. V'yesh wrote to I remember the most chashuv bacher in the Mir in Brooklyn. Now Rosh Yeshiva in Brooklyn. He would smoke. He would never extinguish his cigarettes, lest he come to extinguish them on Yontif. So he'd always put his cigarettes when he finished them. He would put them burning side up, leave them there until they went out on their own. Okay. Hope he no longer smokes, but I haven't been touching him for almost 40 years. So, the Yeshua tells us, Mechabel doesn't want to answer smoking in general because you're extinguishing. It's not true, he says. There's no extinguishing if you don't push down on the coal. Furthermore, the embassy and besides that, it's best to I guess light the cigarette from a flame, even from a candle. I feel needs a Hashem in there called a shana. Even somebody who doesn't light his cigarette from a candle the entire year, I don't know why. No, we shall have a shoner. But say go freeze. It's better than using the head of the match head. No, we shall have a shoner, comma. The better use the flame. The bad say go freeze because the match heads cheat doser. I guess because he held you extinguish the match head when you light the cigarette. I'm not sure that's the case. Well, no, I don't think that's what he means. He means, of course, you can't light a match on the ultimate. That's what he means. Rakayom Shisrabu ha phosphorescent. Paparosin. Sulachina Meir Vyata Vyata Badai Osula Sosam Zelkasias Kali. Whatever this thing is, she used to light cigarettes. You can't use. You have to prepare from Arab Yontif. Okay, you're based. You can't take a cup which has become made fragrant and put it on the garments because it gives them a fragrance. Even though you're allowed to rub grasses. Most times, that's because they have a smell, but they don't need and by rubbing them, the smell gets enhanced. But you can't have a no, as opposed to a garment which has no smell, and therefore it's no allowed to do this. I feel you have a molid actually. But I feel even the garment did have its fragrance. Also, let's see if it can add fragrance. So fragrance is not from itself; it doesn't emerge from the bed garment. Okay, most of it's adding a new fragrance to it. But if you have an esrog which is sitting on a garment, you would move it from the garment. You can put it back in, because you're not adding something new. Some people put fragrance in water. The for the drinking, it's going to make them eat a more pleasant drink. It's permissible. If it's for the purpose of giving them a fragrance, Instagram was absolutely forbidden. Some people put some fragrance in the water, which your Kohanim used to wash. Interesting. The Isser lo gamoru, it's absolutely usher. This is something which is stated by evidently some nachrenim, including Taz. We have not heard of such a minhag in our day and age. Mishnah brings down a machlekes in terms of putting fragrant oil in water, and if it's for Erev Yontif, it was already there. Oh no, it's not in the water that the Kohen pour. It's the water that the Kohen pour on their hands. So the Kohen should have like a pampering the Kohen. So Mishnah Berurah is saying that if the oil is already there from Erev Yontif, you certainly can pour it on the Kohen's hand, even though it gives a fragrance in the hand. That's not considered to be a prohibited activity. Tough kufi beish lo bashu tzarich any Yehudi b'Yontif. Can't cook for non-Jew in Yontif. Aleph ksiv everything which was done for any soul, it alone can be done for you. Hach lachem mutar. The word lachem is superfluous. Could have just said the pasuk achasher yechol chol nefesh ulu v'adol yaseh. Why is that lachem? The shen lachem below Yehudi. So we learn from this for you and not for non-Jew. Shlocha melacha Yehudi. Malach and Yontif was not permitted for a non-Jew. L'chein also bash or left was that you can't cook or bake for a non-Jew. When we come nevertheless, ain't a local, you get makos. Since it's suitable for a Jew, so they don't get it's not violate Yontif outright if you made it for a non-Jew. Since a guest would come, it'd be suitable for the guest. Having Shkos Barama Peragav Din Tezvav. When I say mitoch, since it's printed for the Torah or Jew, it's also mutar shlo tzarech, in other words, for the non-Jew. She's not meant to share cloud. Some question. He also only say mitoch by taking things out of from one domain to another and by making fires. What's that mean? So therefore, it's not a question because this is cooking, which is different malacha. She does the taste is being tzarech sas Yisrael. It's going to hold that you need a little bit of tzarech for a Jew. Gagi lokasha. You're going to Rashi mitoch afshlo tzarech cloud, even if it's no purpose whatsoever. Mikom kom shasab furash shlo any Yehudi. To explicitly for non-Jew shazal surah term of push, which Torah explicitly aser lo shaykh lamar mitoch. Can't say mitoch in such case. It's similar to baking from yontif to a weekday. Most times seen tough side of ches if you ches. I'm sure that's absolutely forbidden. Beijing times Arukh HaShulchan as any Shabbos can invite a non-Jew to your house for Shabbos. Also and you can't invite him on Yontif because he might come to cook more for him, which is forbidden. The Shabbos Shabbos okay to invite him because not do malacha for him. When you're accustomed to bake and cook, maybe going to increase for his purpose some food stuff. The Halacha writes, it seems to Rashi that even if the non-Jew would test you, if you don't do this, it's still also. Mechaim wrote that also that's the same thing. Unless it's no gap for Simchas Yontif, then you can invite him to come eat from that which you prepared for yourself, which of course is the hetzer which we use to invite people who are being Megayer, who haven't yet gone through Gerus completely yet, that there's it's for our Simchas Yontif. They should be with us. Like having a ger and a yosem almana, but you have to be careful not to add on anything for them. V'ditek Rosh Zal, Rosh said infers milosha mizamnim from the language of inviting. Zel kemachim mizamen also, since you're inviting him, we assume he's a distinguished person. Chavetz yikar, you want to honor him. Therefore, it might come to an ad for him. Avol your servant. Or agent which is sent to you. When Nigel comes home with time lechol limo, allowed to eat with him. Not concerned might add for him. Because you didn't invite them. You're not concerned with honoring them. We're not concerned that you're going to mess up. Rambam says, you can eat what they ate. They're eating. They're already prepared. The Siegel of it to a tour complained about this. And it doesn't seem that that's the case. If you look for knew, even prepared, maybe you're going to add more for him. If he's worthy, if he's important, VIP, and it's worthy of that. You have to tell him if you're okay with this eating from that which you prepared for ourselves, if we don't prepare actually for you, then it's okay. Mishabura and the Taz. Shabur says the Taz Paskins that he became a zone. The Jew gives him to eat without any invitation or any supplication. They should eat with him. It's okay. But if the Jew supplicates him, they should eat by him, even though he's coming on his own. We're afraid you might come to cook for him in another pot. Okay. Famous Kenu Bagmar. There's also this true fact. This Kenu Marsham. It indicates that the Gemara doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't say the Mama Omar. What does it help? He's not going to add if he says that if he supplicates him to come. What is it? What does it detract if he doesn't say? The law is mean man hitter since you didn't invite him. Not considering you're going to add for him. The non-Jew is not going to get upset and that which you didn't add on for him. Since you didn't invite him. Then it's going to come. That what she said more if it's good for this is enough for you, etc. This is a courtesy. To tell him ask Mechila if he doesn't give him proper cover by making more exotic dishes for him. Doesn't mean the base also. Specifically to invite him to your house is also. I will do the base of mutter. To send food to the non-Jew in his house, that's okay. We're not going to add on for him. Mishabur says, make even to be marbeh for the non-Jew, When you're cooking for your own purpose, and I guess when you're sending it to the non-Jew, I'm not sure why they make them. In a place of Ava or Hefsid Mammon, it's possible to rely on this. But since he's not here, but about being you don't have to. There's no courtesy to give him special honor. But Shiluach any who did send it to a non-Jew in Malcolm should be Shabbos also talk if there's no eruv. Which adds evidently again that it has to be a place that's darker shalom involved. Even though Hotzah and the Mitzvah altogether, Zohar called Hotzah, so that's for the purpose of a Jew. If who Malcolm Shemutar, but till this place where there is nerve, Mutter Shlokam they so send to a Jew, name is Isser Hazmara. There's no prohibition of invitation. There's because of effort, toil, beyond this type of does not forbid any of it. Shaygam Shabbos Mutter Litain Machlo Chol Adam. Even Shabbos you're allowed to give food to anybody. Even a non-Jew and to go and give him the food. Even place you're not carrying Maino B'Shus Arab and Gomer, it's not absolute Shusram, Mutter Shlach beyond by day, so you can send it by on Yotzim through a Jew. So it's time Shus Arab and Gomer. I am much see if you'd Aleph. What's Mishnah Berurah say? Mishnah Berurah says, no. In the karmas, it's also unless there's nerve. Hey, Yesh Misha Omer Dizash also has meaning Yotzim, that which can by the Yotzim, so come Shting Go Tzar Zuda. As before you prepare all the needs of the meal. Ready, you prepared it. For some of Sudan is already right before the meal. Mutter last meal allowed to provide it because it's not going to prepare anything more anyway. But that only works if you never had didn't have mind previously divided. If you had a mind it's not going to work. It's obviously also. He's still concerned that he might come to add on for him. It's not so prevalent. Either way, look at it. Before the meal, how is it possible you weren't thinking about this an hour before? As a Maya Shabbat, any idea loves Samach Lasuda, so must be talking about when the Jew comes to you on his own initiative right before the meal, does the Vaksho, then you're asking him, Umazmino. And then you ask him and inviting him, Mitchila Lo Ayo Daita Love Cloud. And you didn't have in mind for him at all previously, which is a very rare event. Mishnah says, and Rambam sounds like it's also to invite him, even if you're ready to prepare all the food. Here, there was the brackets here, but we wouldn't understand the brackets without without going into the sources, so we're going to skip the brackets for now.